I opened my wife's family's Christmas gift and stared at my missing wristwatch, the last thing I had from my dad. Her sister laughed. "Oh, I forgot I took that." When I confronted her, my mother-in-law said, "Don't start drama over a watch." That night, I packed a bag. By morning, my wife was shaking me awake. "What did you say to her?" She snapped. "Best laid plans, James." I looked around at the apartment I'd scrubbed until the grout gleamed, the place I'd busted my ass to afford. This was supposed to be the crown jewel of my 32 years. Candles set like I knew what I was doing, vanilla and sandalwood, flowers in the thrift store vase I'd saved for, a table crowded with homemade lasagna, garlic bread, and a Caesar salad that actually involved a block of Parmesan and effort. 6 o'clock came and went. 7. 8. Every 5 minutes, I checked my phone like a teenager waiting for a crush to text. The lasagna went from glossy to crusted, the candles threw funeral home shadows, and I started telling myself the kinds of lies you tell when you're trying not to feel stupid. Traffic, a wrong time, one of my sister's crises. At 9, I opened social media. Photos. My brother Martin on a spur-of-the-moment fishing trip, grinning with a base the size of a shoe. There was Claire, too, and my parents, all of them happy in waders and evening light. The timestamp 4:30 p.m., no emergency. No apology. Just mosquitoes and a better offer. I stood in the hum of my own refrigerator, in a room that mocked me with its candles and banner and overcooked food. Then my phone lit up. "Claire, we need to talk now." No sorry, no excuse. Orders. The calls rolled in. Claire, Dad, Mom, my sister. Each message a variation on the same note. Answer. Now. It's about Martin. Of course it was. I poured the expensive wine I'd bought to celebrate and let the phone ring. When Mrs. Garcia from across the hall knocked, she took in the untouched food and drooping balloons and said, "Oh, sweetheart," in a tone that meant she knew. She pressed a foil-covered plate into my hands. "Empanadas." Sometimes the people who should show up for us don't, but that doesn't mean you're not worth showing up for. I'd spent 32 years being the one who showed up. For the first time, I didn't. By morning, my phone listed 17 missed calls and 23 unread texts. When Claire finally caught me, she started with, "It's about Martin. He owes serious money to serious people. We told him you'd help. You're responsible." Responsible, the family's favorite word when they needed something. Dad's voice barged in from the background. "Stop being dramatic. Martin could lose everything. You're the stable one. Step in. Like you all stepped in last night?" I asked. There was a silence thick enough to lean on. "It was just a party," Claire said. "Not to me," I said, and hung up. For hours, I scrubbed a spotless sink. The voice that always tells me to keep the peace tried to make a case. Maybe I overreacted. Maybe I should call back. Then I opened my filing cabinet. The deed to my apartment, the one I bought outright, was on top of the apartment purchase folder. No cosigners. No loans, just my name. I took a photo, the seal, the signatures, the letters that mattered, James Monroe. I didn't post it, not yet. It felt like a match I could only strike once. At lunch, Daniel from accounting found me staring at a sandwich like it owed me money. He listened without interrupting. "Here's what I learned when my sister relapsed and everyone expected me to fund rehab for the 4th time," he said. "Being the stable one is a blessing and a curse. The curse is they think your stability belongs to them." "They keep calling me cold," I said. "Because if you're cold, they don't have to look at themselves," he said. "This isn't about loyalty. It's about enabling." That night, the calls continued. I let them stack up and slept like a man who's finally put down something he's carried too long. On Friday, Martin called. His voice was raw. "I know you're mad about the housewarming. We messed up, but I'm drowning." "Were you my brother when you went fishing?" I asked. He said he'd had a panic attack. Dad thought the water would help. Therapy by photo op. When he finally choked out, "I'm sorry," it landed like a coin in a well. Not for me. For the delay between him and what he wanted. I hung up, opened Facebook, uploaded the photo of the deed and typed, "Built this life on my own." Some stories tell themselves. The response was immediate and pure. Congratulations from friends, neighbors, old classmates. People who don't need anything from me. Then came the family. Claire commented, "We're so proud of you." Can't wait to celebrate properly. She texted, "Take it down."
People are asking why we weren't there.
"You're embarrassing us," I replied. I felt the same way last week. Aunt Susan called to talk about family business. Uncle Bob cautioned me about drama. Even Grandma left a voicemail about disappointment and blood. It was like a traveling roadshow of guilt. Then came the real fallout. Co-workers at Martin's job saw the post. Jokes spread. Claire's book club, which is mostly wine and gossip, asked why she hadn't been at her husband's housewarming and why she'd been bragging about my stability while missing the moment it should have mattered. At Dad's office, a guy who knew me from college congratulated him. Dad got weird and evasive. It turned into office speculation about why a father wouldn't be openly proud. That night, Oliver called, laughing. "Dude, your dad actually went to HR to complain people were congratulating him about you." HR suggested maybe he could try acting proud. "Processing," I said, smiling into the dark. A week later, they arrived as a unit. Mom, Dad, Martin, my sister, Claire. "A doorframe intervention. We made a mistake," Mom said, crying at professional level. "We're here to apologize." "You've had a week," I said. "All you've done is ask me to take down a photo." "You aired family business," Dad thundered. "Attention-seeking." "I posted my deed," I said. "The attention is yours." Martin stepped forward. "People at work are laughing. Clients are asking questions. You're ruining my life over one night." "It's not one night," I said. "It's 32 years of choosing Martin. Last week was just the first time everyone else saw it." "Family comes first," Jessica said. "Family shows up," I said, and closed the door. They pounded. I didn't move. Freedom can sound like silence. 3 months later, Thanksgiving tested my resolve. The old script would have had me at my mother's table with the expensive wine, while Martin got praised for remembering roles. This year, I set my own table for 8. Daniel came with a bottle and a grin. Oliver drove in with Sarah. Mrs. Garcia brought flan and called me mijo and told me I'd make someone happy someday. Jake from work arrived with a baby who gurgled at the centerpiece like it was television. We were laughing about terrible office coffee when my phone buzzed. A photo from my cousin Tommy, my family's table without me. Mom swollen-eyed. Dad glowering. Martin slumped. Claire far away as if distance could save face. "Not the same without you," the caption read. "Mom's been crying all day, holy hell," Daniel said, peeking at my screen. "They look miserable." "Good," Oliver said. "Is that terrible?" "I don't care." A voicemail arrived from Claire. Tears, apologies, an empty house, an emptier holiday, promises she should have kept before she broke them. I deleted it and went back to my people. Here's the thing I learned. Revenge isn't rage. It's refusal. Refusal to be the family vault and shock absorber and background character. It's building a life so sturdy their absence becomes a blessing instead of a wound. We ate. We argued about pumpkin versus flan. Someone made a toast. I looked around at a room full of people who showed up because they wanted to, not because they needed something. My apartment, my name on the deed, my sweat in the grout, felt like it was finally mine in more than a legal way. I don't need their apologies anymore. I don't need their performance of pride. I have something better, peace, people who keep their word, and a home I built without permission or help. Some stories really do tell themselves. You just have to stop letting other people hold the pen.